Hello students! Today's lesson is about the air around us. In this lesson, you will learn how to describe the properties of air and also how to show the presence of air in different places through simple experiments. We will start by exploring the ways in which we can describe air, that is, the properties of air. Then, I will carry out different experiments to show the presence of air in an empty bottle, in soil, and in water. You will also do an activity to make sure that you can answer questions about air. Let's start. We all know that we are surrounded by air and that we are breathing in air every second. Even though we cannot see air, we can feel its presence. When you go outside on a windy day, you can feel the wind blowing on you. Wind is simply air which is moving. The properties of air refer to the ways in which we describe air. The following questions will help you describe the properties of air. First, does air have a color? Take a look around you. Air is present all around you, and it does not have any color, does it? Therefore, we say that air is colorless. Does air have a taste? We use our tongue to taste things, and air does not give any taste to our tongue. Therefore, we say that air is tasteless. Does air have an odor? Well, this one is a bit tricky. Sometimes air does have an odor. Let us say you are in the kitchen and your parents are preparing a nice meal for you. The air will carry the smell of the food that is being cooked to your nose. However, when air is not carrying the smell of food or flowers or anything else that produces an odor, when the air is pure, it does not have any odor. Therefore, air is odorless. Let's have a recap. These are the properties of air. Air is colorless, tasteless, and odorless. Even though we cannot see air, there are experiments we can do to show that air is present. Let's do the first experiment. Observe this bottle. It looks empty, doesn't it? The question is it really empty? If this bottle is empty, if I push it in the water, it should fill up, right? Let us observe what happens. Is the water entering the bottle? I'm going to close it and then take it out of the water. Did the water get in the bottle? No. The bottle is still empty. Why do you think that the water did not get inside this empty bottle? Actually, this bottle is full of air. So long the air fills the bottle, the water cannot get in. Now observe what happens if I push it down slightly inclined. Can you see the air now moving out of the bottle? When the air moves out, the water can get in. An empty bottle is actually full of air. Water can only get in when the air moves out. This experiment shows that air is present in an empty bottle. Let us see another very interesting way to show the presence of air in an empty bottle. This time, I will use a balloon and an empty bottle. You have surely blown lots of balloons to decorate for parties. It is quite easy to blow a balloon like this. When I blow air into the balloon, the air takes up the space inside the balloon. Have you ever tried to blow a balloon in an empty bottle? Let me try and see what happens. This is very hard. Actually, it is impossible to blow a balloon inside an empty bottle. Can you guess why? This bottle is actually full of air. So the air that I'm trying to blow in the balloon has no place because there is no space in the bottle, which is already full of air. Now let us see what happens if I blow this balloon. What happened here? Why do you think I was able to blow this balloon? Actually, I used a little trick. If you look closer, I made a hole in this bottle. So when I blow air in the balloon, the air in the bottle moves out of the hole. Do you want some proof to see that the air is moving out of the hole? Observe this carefully. Did you see the bubbles of air coming out of the bottle? This experiment shows that an empty bottle is actually full of air. Now we have seen that air is all around us and also fills up empty spaces. What about soil? Do you think there is air in soil? Let's find out. This is some soil that I have taken from the garden. We are going to see if there is air in this soil. I'm going to take this water and pour it in the soil until it is completely covered. Then you will observe carefully what happens. Can you see all the air bubbles coming out from the soil? This shows that air was trapped in the soil. Now that the water replaces the air comes out as small bubbles. Right, there is air in the soil, and when I poured in the water replaces the air, and we can see the air coming out of the soil. This experiment shows that air is present in soil. Now, I have a more challenging question for you. Is there air in water? And if there is air in water, how can we prove it? There is a very simple experiment to show that there is air in water. You just need to take a glass of water and keep it in the sun for a few hours. Then you observe the glass of water. This is what you will observe after about an hour. Can you see the bubbles on the glass? These are bubbles of air coming from the water. This happens because air comes out of the water when the water is warmed by the heat coming from the sun. This experiment shows that air is present in water. We can also do this experiment by gently heating some water over a burner instead of placing it in the sun. The water should be warmed, not boiled. When the water starts to become warm, we can see the bubbles of air coming out of the water. Let us have a quick recap. The presence of air around us can be shown through experiments. The presence of air in an empty bottle can be shown by plunging the bottle under water. Bubbles of air are seen coming out. We can also try to blow a balloon in an empty bottle. We will see that it is impossible to blow the balloon as the bottle is full of air. The only way we can do it is by piercing a hole in the bottle to let the air move out. We can show that air is present in soil by pouring water on soil and observe the air bubbles coming out. And finally, we can show the presence of air in water by warming some water over a gas burner or by leaving it in the sun. Bubbles of air are seen in the water. Let us do an activity to check what you have learned today. In this activity, answer the questions. First question: what are the properties of air? Air is colorless, tasteless, and odorless. Second question: if we push a bottle straight down into water, why does the water not enter the bottle? Correct! The bottle is full of air. Let's see the next question. How can we show that there is air in soil? Right. Pour water in the soil and then we observe bubbles of air coming out of the soil. Question number 4. What can we observe if a glass of water is left out in the sun for a few hours? Right. We can see bubbles of air on the surface of the glass. Second question. If we push an empty bottle straight down into water, why does the water not enter the bottle? Correct. The empty bottle is actually full of air, even if we cannot see the air. Let us see the next question. How can we show that there is air in soil? Right. Pour water in the soil and then we observe bubbles of air coming out of the soil. Question 4. What can we observe if a glass of water is left out in the sun for a few hours? Right. Bubbles of air will be seen on the surface of the glass. In this lesson, we have learnt about the properties of air. Air is colorless, odorless, and tasteless. We have also seen different experiments that show the presence of air all around us. In the next lesson, you will learn about the importance of air for living things. I hope you have enjoyed today's lesson. I will encourage you to try and do the experiments at home with the help of an adult. Until next time, goodbye.